Hockey's back, baby. Let's go.
I think that's the goal there, to be honest. That hockey was phenomenal. All right, Phil Kessel is a Stanley Cup champion once again. And hey, Bruce, there it is. Bruce, there it was. At least it wasn't Adam Fox.
It's two juggernauts just colliding with each other. What? Weird. Now we have to deal with another generational talent in Chicago. Root.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Puck and Stuff podcast, where we talk about puck and other stuff. Round one is in the books. Round one is finished. Round one is complete. On to round two. B-Dog, how are you feeling after those series? Man, some good hockey.
I'm feeling electric. We just had 2 Game 7s. Boston, Vegas. Oh, it was so good. It was so great to watch. It was fun doing the live with you guys too. There was a couple people we were on live with watching, and it was a crazy reaction, especially you got to see it on TikTok. I just love playoff hockey. And I remember you said that now we have to worry less because our team's not in the playoffs. Now it's just fun to watch. So I'm just geeking out over all of it. So
100%.
I love it.
Yeah, but basically put, if you haven't been following as close as maybe we have with the playoffs, what I think we need to do here is quickly just review the series, see how they went, and then boom, get right into some predictions for the next round. All right, B-Dog, I'm going to give it to you. You got to tell me the first review.
Oh, okay. Well, you're handing it right to me. So, honestly, you know what? We'll start off with the Western Conference. Let's talk about the first game that's most recent to our minds. Dallas versus Vegas. You just saw a crazy performance from Jake Ottinger. Really kept Dallas in that series, especially when they were up 3-2. Vegas won it at home 2-0. And you really thought, oh, crap. Is Vegas going to come back and win this in Game 7? Is the Cheaters going to go on to round 2? Nope. I'm so happy they're gone. So happy they're gone. Just like every other fan in the NHL. But it was a great series. I loved it.
I completely agree with you. Great series all in all. These teams, bloodbaths. How I see this series is pretty much whoever wins this series is going to the finals in the West. That's how stacked these teams are. Dallas, the depth is why they could force a game, or I guess they didn't force a Game 7, but they, came back in forcing Vegas to win themselves a Game 6 to get a Game 7.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen without their defensive structure and getting goals, not even just from, because I've been seeing people complain about Robertson. Even he scored one at least, but at least they're getting depth scoring in there as well. And Ottinger was exactly what he needed to be. Vegas as well. They were scary in some games, but they weren't scary when it mattered the most in the Game 7. I honestly thought in that Game 7 Dallas had most of the possession end of the game a little different, right? Vegas trying to play really hard. That was a nail biter at that end there.
Yeah.
I think they were just a better team overall. And honestly, you want to talk about goalie battles. Ottinger smoked Aiden Hill and Thompson. And for a bit there, it was confusing. Why Hill? Because Thompson was playing better than Hill. But overall, they beat him. And it was a gritty series. And that's how you have to beat Vegas. Because Vegas, if they have the opportunity, they will score. And honestly, I think what benefited Dallas is Vegas having all these players come back from injury and new additions who don't know the system well.
You're right on the point with that. I think they did go pretty crazy on the trade deadline, as everyone knows, and everyone was calling them cheaters for getting Hurdle, Hanifin, and Anthony Mantha in one trade deadline, which was crazy alone. $16 million over the cap, and everyone called them cheaters for it. And when you have players like this, you add to a system they don't really know. It, like you said before, it takes time for them to really adjust and get with the system. But you kind of saw it in this series that it didn't go as planned. You saw Noah Hanifin play really well in the playoffs with Vegas, but it just wasn't enough. And now if you're Vegas, your next question going into the offseason is, what do you do with Jonathan Marchessault? Because he's going into free agency as a free agent. They don't really have the cap space to sign him. I'm really curious at what they do.
They will find a way. That's all I know.
God.
But overall, great series, and congrats to Dallas. They move on. Colorado, Winnipeg. a little bit of a disappointment. I'm not going to lie. The first game was fantastic, and then Colorado just simply gentleman swept them. Why? Because Colorado is a better team. They know how to play intense, high stakes hockey in the playoffs. Winnipeg doesn't. Colorado honestly had their number for those 4 games that they won. Winnipeg didn't have an answer. Hellebuck, I didn't think Hellebuck was terrible, but it would have been nice to get a few more saves from Hellebuck. But at the same time, you can't be having your defense let 5 goals in a game. That's not good.
Yeah.
And so just the recipe for disaster or success for failed the Jets and became a recipe for a disaster. And Colorado moves on, and man, that's going to be a crazy series.
Oh, I love it, man. But sadly enough, you and I picked Winnipeg moving on to the second round against Dallas, I guess, now. But apparently playoff experience tells the whole story there of Colorado being a Stanley Cup champion. They know what it takes to get out of the first round. Moving on to the second. But yeah, it was kind of disappointing a performance from Winnipeg because like you said, Hellebuck didn't play terrible, but there was moments where he could have played better. I saw in some interviews, he was saying he's like, I'm playing the best hockey in my whole career. And I'm like, okay, I believe that. But you defensively just wasn't there. And you noticed that just after game 2 because it was still back and forth from most of the series. But goals wise, Colorado was just ahead, man. It was bad. But oh well, another Canadian team out. Winnipeg back at the drawing board. Another round 1 exit. That really hurts, man. I thought Winnipeg was going deep.
Next series, Edmonton, LA. Now this series, I said it was going to be a trap series.
It was not a trap.
I didn't really see it. I'll be, and I will admit that I was wrong, but good for Edmonton because they are learning. You can tell this team is maturing, and if they keep maturing like we saw in this series, they might be a team to reckon with if they can, make it out of the second round as well. So basically put, they got 5 games, or LA got 5 games, and they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs, I'll be honest. They got the offense, not just from McDavid, but from Hyman and from depth players like Dylan Holloway, things of that sort, and their defense, right? I think Ekholm is proof in the pudding that dude is a warrior, and my goodness, man, he knows how to put his body on the line. Bouchard's looking better defensively too. He's that quarterback on the power play. Let's mention the power play too. It's crazy. That power play is crazy. And yeah, something you're going to have to kind of watch out if you're Vancouver because that is something. LA, they just weren't in it, man. They got some great players, but man, you can't be playing trap hockey with players like Fiala and Kempe. These are some fast forwards.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. But yeah, Edmonton honestly smoked them.
Yeah, honestly, it was not a trap. I thought it was funny that we brought that up and realistically seen it as a LA fan that, hey, this is the 3rd time you're versing in the first round. You need to win. But it couldn't happen. It was too much, especially when Edmonton leads the playoffs in power play percentage with 45%. And then they had 100% on the penalty kill. That just tells me that their defense was ready for this series. That is a really good sign for Edmonton. As much as I hate Edmonton, I got to give them credit. And it helps when McDavid and Draisaitl are both dropping over 10 points in playoffs already in the first round. So,
yeah, LA it's hard for them to compete with the high flying offense of Edmonton. So we'll see what they do in the offseason there.
Yeah.
Last series of the Western Conference, Vancouver, Nashville. This was my favorite series out of all of the first round, in my opinion. People had a little bit of a vendetta against it because it was low scoring, but I don't care. It was high stakes, man. It was nail biting for most games, and I gotta say, shout out to Artur Silovs because you're a 3rd string goalie, but man, he played well. He played great.
Playoff goalie hockey you want, man.
That was something. But you also have to give a shout out to Saros because without UC Saros, Nashville's not winning this series at all. They're not even coming close. They're losing in 5 or 4, man. Yeah. For real. Saros absolutely stood on his head. I don't know. Nashville just felt quiet. The forwards that needed to contribute weren't contributing. And I think their defense just wasn't where it needed to be in reality. Vancouver, there's some struggles there too. Great series, though. I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah, you're right on the money with that. This was realistically the best goalie battle series out of all of them, in my opinion, because you're right on the money. I think if Saros was not in net for Nashville, it would not have been a close series. But he kept them in for a couple of games, and I loved that for Saros. And now it's back to that kind of question with Saros. Maybe he gets traded in the future there. Maybe. You made a good point too with you notice some of the stars on Nashville really didn't show up for this series except maybe Roman Yossi, but with Vancouver, yeah, you're right, there were those struggles. They really got lucky coming back down 3-1 with 2 minutes left in game 5, if I'm correct.
There's 4.
Or sorry, game 4. Yeah, I think it was
yeah.
game 4 when they came back. I watched it. That was crazy in my opinion, but damn, Demko goes down in game 1, and you have to rely on your third string goaltender who plays lights out to win you the series. I got to give a lot of credit to him for sure. But one person that needs to show up for next round is Elias Pettersson. 100%. Yeah. Because if you're playing McDavid and Draisaitl and the Edmonton Oilers, you need your star players to show up, or you're going to end up just like Nashville. So I'll say that. Great win for Vancouver. Good luck next round. It's going to be much harder.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll move on to the Eastern Conference. Washington, New York. Okay, well, the Rangers killed them. Washington didn't deserve to be there. Ovi wanted to just play some golf. I think he had 5 shots the entire series. There was no
goals. Sad.
There was no effort in there. I think Charlie Lindgren played well as Washington's goalie, but they weren't getting any help. They deserved to get swept. Sorry, it wasn't close, man.
It wasn't.
I said this would go to 7 because I'm thinking Rangers are probably going to overestimate them. I was wrong.
No,
I was wrong.
I was nice enough to give them a gentleman's sweep in 5, but they couldn't even do that to me. So, yeah, you're right. Washington just really proved how bad they are in this series, and every NHL's fans like, we really just wanted Detroit in because they would have done way better than freaking Washington done. They would have at least won a game, in my opinion. But you know what? Yeah. It's really sad because you're really seeing the end of Ovi with the Washington Capitals, and potentially this could be his last playoff run with them. But New York was just the better team overall. They smoked them. Now you move on to round 2. Congrats, Rangers. It was easy.
Carolina, New York Islanders.
Boring.
Thank you, Carolina, for taking the Islanders out. They suck. I can't stand them. They're boring to watch. And they got gentlemen swept.
It was obvious that like Carolina outmatched them in like every position of play, and it was just ugly to watch, man. I tried watching one of those games, and Carolina just smoked this team. It was not fun hockey to watch. Yeah, I mean, the Islanders tried keeping the series alive to win 1 game, but they blew like 2 leads in 2 games, and they're just like crushing their fans. So bye-bye, New York. See you around. Carolina, welcome to round 2. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's keep it going. Florida, Tampa. Oh my goodness. I thought...
Damn it!
No.
Damn it!
I thought there would be something. Look, we all knew. Okay, let's be real here. We said Tampa.
Yep.
We knew that Florida was better. I was thinking, no, Tampa, you know what? They could probably pull something. And, Vasilevsky could just carry them to a 7-game win. But no, I was wrong. Florida's a wagon. Absolute wagon.
God
Tampa
damn it.
couldn't keep up with it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, you're completely right. I honestly thought Tampa could do it. I really thought they were like, hey guys, Kucherov's having a great year. We got Vasilevsky back, and everything looked like it could go right for them to go deep. But Vasilevsky has not looked the same since that surgery. I don't think we're going to get the same guy anymore, which I hate to say because I love the goalie. I think he's a top 5 goalie, but you could just tell that Tampa this is one of the worst Tampa teams we've had since the Cup wins, honestly.
It is, but I didn't think that this team would have that. But then again, 2019 when they lost to Columbus, that Tampa team was the most stacked that they were at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of playoff hockey.
Yeah, 100%. But Florida was just the better team. I hate to say it. Florida was the better team. But Bobrovsky, literally with that one save, it literally ended the series. I'm not going to lie. That save he made ended the series for them.
I saw that and automatically remembered the Holtby save in the 2018 Cup run with Washington, because I'm like, that save kind of almost guaranteed. You could feel it. You're like, yeah, that save, okay, Washington's winning.
It's a momentum change. It's a momentum change. It's crazy.
100%.
But 100%. You know what? Congrats, Florida. You move on to round 2. Tampa, you have a lot to discuss this offseason because your captain hasn't signed a contract. And you're potentially going to let him go into free agency? Really? You're going to let Steven Stamkos. He's been with your team. You drafted him. He's won cups with you. He's won awards with you. He's done everything for the city. You're really just going to let him walk, eh? But now I ask you the question, T-Dog. What do you think Tampa does with Mr. Steven Stamkos, the slap shot guy?
Bro,
the
sniper. I don't think I've ever told you this. I'm telling you right now, bro, I got these visions.
Oh, no.
He'd look kind of good in the Flames jersey.
Oh, no. Don't do this to me. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Could you
Okay, listen. It's not going to happen. I don't think it would happen. Because why would you do that? If we signed, because it'd be a good number contract too. We signed a forward to the Flames. He was trying to get younger, and I look, oh, he's over the age of 32. I'm gonna be like, Conroy, are you calling the shots here, brother? I don't think you are. Where does he go?
At least Huberdeau would have a center he could play with again.
They're in such a weird position right now. This is the result of having success with the cup.
Yep.
Catches up with you. And then you're going to have to start playing cap circumvention. Where would he go? I think, you know what? Okay. It wouldn't happen. Toronto needs a player like Stamkos. And I say that because leadership and scoring ability, he would actually show up for the playoffs. So it makes sense for him to go to a team like that. I wouldn't happen.
It's kind of funny you say that because I'm pretty sure they did that for Juan Tavares, actually.
Detroit, there were rumors about the Stamkos thing when he had to sign 6-7 years ago. I remember that.
I remember that.
Dude, I don't know where he'd go. Detroit, maybe? Like,
would
they want to do that because they get rid of Kane and then maybe they try and sign him in the free agency? I couldn't really give you an answer. I'll just say Detroit because it's the first one that popped in my head. I think he's going to go to a team in red for some reason, but I don't know.
I don't realistically see Steven Stamkos in any other jersey because, like, I remember, like, what you were saying a couple of years ago, we kind of had the same thing happen. Stamkos was going into this off season with no contract, and everyone was like predicting where he would go. But then he re-signed back with Tampa, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't see him really moving, and I think Tampa will realize that this is their captain. It would hurt the team so much to lose a guy like this. He's going to be a guy that's probably going to have his number hung up in the stadium or the arena. It makes most sense. I think they'll figure something out and re-sign him. If it's a really dumb move if they don't, because without Stamkos, you as a contender drop quite a bit, especially when he's one of the few that shows up for playoffs. You don't want to lose that with Kucherov. And I get that Braden Point is potentially the future centerman you're looking for, but just keep the guy until he wants to retire. I don't think he wants to really leave. He just didn't like that you guys didn't offer him anything.
One more series we have not talked about.
You're wearing
these guys.
You're wearing it.
Dingle, poor dude. Feel bad for him.
Poor guy. I don't even know where to start on this because, like, you know what? Yeah, literally, of course it happened.
I picked Toronto because I'm thinking you can only have the story go for so long until something happens. And I mean, Boston, they don't have Bergeron. They don't have Krejci. They lack on center depth. Surely Toronto can outscore them a few times. They did, but not 4 times. And they needed to do that 4 times, and they could not. This series was weird because Boston wins game 1. You're like, okay, kind of close, a little worried. Game 2, Matthews wins that.
Yep. Then
Those
Boston wins game 3 and
are
4.
and then you once they won game 3, because once they won game 3, I'm like, performance like that at home, the crowd's that like quiet, that's not good. And the series kind of went back and forth, but after that loss, I think they played better. And then Samsonov, he wasn't playing whatever. And then Wool came in. Wool was fine for great game 6. And
Brick wall.
gets injured. I hope he just keeps healthy, because he really is the goalie of the future, and he could become something great. But after that game 3, Boston kind of didn't look that good.
Samsonov didn't really have a great series. And, I mean, his best game was game 7. You could definitely say, but Joseph Woll was a brick wall for 5 and 6. Game 5 and 6 was his game. And surprisingly enough, Matthews was not in the lineup for game 5 and 6.
Yeah,
and you saw the Leafs play so much better. And you're correct. The MVP for the Leafs was William Nylander. 100%. Sorry, the funny part was about when you saw game 5 and 6 happen, you just saw NHL memes going, it's inevitable. It's going to 7. It is 100% going to 7. There was no way they were winning game 5. There was no way they were going to win game 6. Yeah. And we go into game 7. We watched all of this game. It was back and forth. Like, no one truly had an edge in period 1 or 2. Then we get to period 3. Toronto gets the first goal. There's 3 minutes left. Toronto fans in the tailgate party had hope for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
That's how long it was? That was quick. Yeah, it was.
It was 1 minute and 30 seconds. Then you blow it. Tie game, 1-1, and you go to overtime. Time. Terrible defense on that bank pass. No, I can understand, though. That bank pass, no one thought that was going to
Marcus Lindholm, that's how you know that's your home barn, because you probably practice that all the time.
Yeah, 100%.
That was crazy to know exactly where
it was a beautiful bank. It was a beautiful bank pass. David Pastrnak literally snuck his way into the offensive zone. Beautiful tuck. He got called out by his coach for not making big plays and big moments. So David Pastrnak showed up in a big moment, and history repeats itself for the 4th time in a couple of years. 2013, 2018, 2019, 2024.
Toronto, now that you lost, you got to clean house. Shanahan has to go. Keith has to go. I'm sorry, bro. That dude is not an NHL caliber coach. Maybe an alternate an assistant coach. He ain't a head coach. Ain't gonna lie. What do? You got to clean house, though. Boys Club needs to go.
So
after Boys Club, players, like, who goes, man?
So my actual thoughts for this is, yes, you do have to clean house. I think the head coach leaves or gets fired. I think Shanahan leaves. But when this happens consistently, and you know what? This has happened in the Matthews, Marner, Nylander era 3 times already. Someone has to leave out of the core 4. You have to do a roster change. You have to do a roster mix-up. This isn't blaming coaches. This isn't blaming goalies or anything. This is roster problem.
They just
this
can't
is player
get
problem.
It done.
You noticed this in game 4? Is that when Mitch Marner had a little pissy moment and threw his gloves on the bench? I think it was game 4. Yeah, it was game 4 when they went down 3-1. They were all pissed at each other, and you're seeing in the locker room that obviously they're close, but something's not working here. You have to trade someone out of the core 4 because, yeah, it's great to have a stacked forward core, but your defense is only held by Morgan Rielly. That's it. And a lot of people will make the case Morgan Rielly isn't a great defenseman. And now I think Samsonov is gone too, since Joseph Woll looks good. But if your team wants to be competitive, you need to get rid of someone out of the core 4. I hate to say it, but it's probably Mitch Marner.
Marner?
2 years at $11 million. You're not moving Matthews. He's the franchise guy. William Nylander was the only guy there that showed up for this series.
Here's one saving grace. is the sense that Marner and Tavares' contract ends the same season, not next season, but the season after. So if you can trade, you can. If not, I mean, you don't want to let him go for nothing. But Marchand is 2 years older than Tavares.
Yeah.
Who's showing age? Who isn't? Tavares is showing his age. Marchand is not, comparative to that.
Wow.
It's tough. It really is. Their window's gone. Like, in the sense of that core, it's gone. You're seeing the repercussions of it. Lack of depth in the defensive zone. Yeah, there's injuries, but you don't got cap space to go out and get someone.
No.
And the forward group, I think the forward group was fine. But they needed scoring. But they needed scoring from the people who you pay to get goals. And they weren't getting them from those players. So
have a fun off season, Toronto.
I really feel bad for Leafs fans because this is annoying at this point. Like, it's funny to meme at everyone. Like, Vegas is fun to like meme at because it's Vegas, right? Like, give it a few years, who cares? This Toronto garbage has been going on for 10 years. Choke. It's annoying. Like, just win or become bottom feeders again. Because it's like there are other teams that could have got a playoff spot that most likely could have probably proven themselves a little more. All right. Yep. Let's get into some predictions, for the second round.
Woo! Round 2. I'm tired of talking about this depressed.
I wasn't up being depressed. I'm done. Second round, boom. It is looking pretty close. I was 5 for 8. You were 6 for 8 on your predictions. Good for you, buddy.
Thank you.
I got to start being a little smarter with these predictions. So let's see if I will be correct. Let's just get right into it. The first one I want to get into because it already started. New York, Carolina. Ooh. I want you, first off, while we're recording this is the day of the Game 7 win for Dallas over Vegas. Therefore, the first game of New York and Carolina did happen. New York did win that game. But our predictions are not based off of this game. It is based off to what we had originally. B-Dog, take it away, buddy.
Good, because I really didn't watch this game because I was busy doing other stuff, so I have no idea what happened. But, okay, now, since we're in round 2, this is where the matchups get more and more intense because it's now better teams playing better teams. We got the crappy wildcard teams out of the mix. Now this is getting fun. Carolina versus New York. Oh, where do I even start? So, obviously, the Rangers swept Washington. It was an easy sweep for them. They got a lot of rest time. And you can make that case with Carolina. They gentlemen swept the Islanders. 2 teams, very deep forward, defensive, and goaltending wise. This could be a battle that lasts all the way until Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think it does go to Game 7 because you know what? Like, you look at Carolina's top 6, they added Jake Gensel, like we mentioned last episode, and they're really gelling together. This looks like a deep contender team going into the playoffs and into round 2. But then you look at the Rangers, and they looked like a really gelled forward group of deadly players that are really hoping for a push here because they haven't made a conference finals in a couple seasons where they versed Tampa. And that was a close series. But you know what? I think this is where the Rangers Cinderella story ends, Carolina in 7.
Okay, cool. Fair enough, man. I like what you're saying here, but I got to say, man, I got to stick with my my bracket there. Rangers in 7.
Wow, 2-game 7.
Hard for me to say that. Okay, because Carolina, man, they deserve. Come on. But, okay, let me give my reasons for this. So I thought initially, I'm thinking, okay, well, Washington gives them a troubled time, but New York's going to learn from Washington going to Game 7, and that will mean they'll learn their mistake and play much tougher and not take anything for granted. And that's out of the picture. Well, the Rangers, I mean, if Shesterkin is Igor, and they're getting goals from Kreider, a little bit of depth scoring too from maybe Laffy and Kako. Players like that in that defense, is to what it can be. I can't see why New York isn't like Dallas in a sense of one of the most balanced teams in the league. I think that helps out a lot. I think it's going to be a tight game, man. I think these are similar teams with similar playing styles, right? Good goalies too. I think it's just going down to who wants some more and goes down to that wire, go to 7. maybe this might be the series that gets an overtime Game 7. It could be.
Dude.
I love it.
I'm gonna love this series. I really am. That
But-
hearing we both think it's going to 7 just tells how compatible in comparison these teams are, forward wise, defensive wise, and goaltending wise. These two are probably the most balanced out of the whole East, if you really think about it. So,
yeah,
I love
this
we both
could
got
be
it
a
7.
conference. This could be a conference final / finals matchup, right? In a sense, if they weren't in the same division.
Exactly.
I mean, I can't see why it wouldn't be one of these teams who make it out the second round going to the finals. East again, Florida, Boston. Boston, you prove me one thing right now. Toronto gave you a little bit of a run for your money. I don't trust you. I think Florida got you. I think Florida is going to smoke you guys. I think Florida in 5. Probably should be more like Florida in 6. I ain't going to be nice to Boston about this. I don't think they played that well against Toronto, and I don't know. There's some sloppy play. I just don't see Boston doing a run. Probably gonna eat my words, but I think this Florida's a better team overall. You're gonna have to stop Reinhardt. You're gonna have to stop Tarasenko. You're gonna have to stop Kachuk, right? And if you can't do that, right? So Swayman, you better have some of that Tuukka Rask, Tim Thomas luck with you.
Oh my God, yeah, you got a good point there because you know what? Funny enough, I also have Florida in 5 because if you're going to struggle like that against Toronto, you have another thing coming if you're versing Florida because they will hit you right at the gates of Game 1 and they will smoke you if you play like that. But you know what? Maybe if Swayman plays on his head, different story. But like, I'm not expecting it, man. This is a different Florida team. This is a very different Boston team than the year before. So Florida in 5, easy for me.
Yeah,
I won't pick them this time. I won't pick them this
I don't know
time.
what else to say, but like, I mean, maybe we're kind of underrating Boston, but no, we're not.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Boston. But Bobrovsky's gonna like rob your guys' souls from this series. I'm sorry. If he plays like he did against Tampa, you guys aren't winning.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Let's move to the West.
All right, Colorado, Dallas. Whoo! Series is gonna feed families. Oh my goodness. Hard to pick. Hard to pick. Again, Dallas, probably the most balanced team in the entire league. Colorado, bunch of studs on that team. They know how to play. Colorado, you better hope that Georgiev plays how he played after Game 1, because if you get Game 1 Georgiev again, Dallas is going to win this one. Dallas in 7 is my pick. Going to the wire here. Dallas likes to kind of play it close. That's how it is. It's Dallas hockey, baby. Colorado, you're going to put up a fight because they got their McKinnons, they got their Nichushkins, they got their Lekkonens, they got their Makar, they got their Devon Toews, right? I just see Dallas like just having the edge there. It's going by my bracket as well, but literally, and to me that would guarantee it if players like Robertson score consistently, and if you're gonna get like absolute clutch goals from from depth players like Mason Marchment or Duchesne, ooh, Dallas, man, could be a team to reckon with for the entire playoffs.
Yeah, well, I understand that. I can understand. I just saw Dallas play today, and they looked terrific. And Jake Onger looked amazing as well. But in my bracket, I said Winnipeg made round 2 against Dallas. I said Dallas moved on to the conference finals in probably 6 games or whatever. But Colorado made it. Colorado's the more experienced team in playoffs. Cale Makar's best defenseman in the NHL. Nathan MacKinnon is making a case that he's the best NHL player in the NHL. Georgiev scares me, but he picked it up after Game 1. And if he comes into this series with that attitude of actually wanting to play hockey, it could be a close series. Colorado in 7. I think.
All right.
I think personally, I underestimated Nathan MacKinnon and Rantanen and Cale Makar as they were the team leader in points. And you know what? I'm really just basing this off of if Georgiev has a good series. Because if he doesn't have a good series, bye-bye.
I think that's fair because like if Dallas, if their defense in Ottinger stops Colorado from having that offensive pressure that they do have, and Georgiev is not there to do the opposite, gonna be tough. Yeah, it could be. Like, this is why I think it's a 7-game series, man. Because Dallas,
it could be led to a Game 7 just based off of bad goldtending 100%. And no one can defend.
And that's crazy to think. That's entirely possible. I just feel like the way Dallas is this season, like, yeah, I did pick them to be in the finals with my bracket, and I'm going to stick with it because I just feel like Dallas is going to take the hard way to the finals. All right,
We
last
got
one.
a lot of game sevens going in the second round. Holy
Yeah,
we got 2 game sevens and one going to 5.
yeah, I could see it. It's
Yeah.
pretty close in it. Like, any of these teams probably could meet in the conference finals if divisions were different or whatever seedings.
Sure.
The Canadian series, all right. Hey, we're gonna guarantee a Canadian team to the conference finals, so that kind of increases chances of a Canadian team making the finals. Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers. I did not have this being a series at the start of the season.
No.
And now that I think about it, it's weird to see this on paper. I think the last time they played each other in the playoffs was 92. And then before that, I think it was 86. Something like that. I can't remember. I checked this a few days ago. Wow. But long time.
Battle of
I'm letting you take this first, man. I don't even. Let me think about my thoughts here.
Okay, I'll leave you to your thoughts. Vancouver versus Edmonton. One thing we can all agree on was Battle of Alberta is so much better to watch in the second round. Let's just be honest. I'm just going to throw it out there. But no, we got Vancouver versus Edmonton. You're correct. At least one team here is going to make it to the conference finals. You look at Edmonton, they were dominant against LA. McDavid, Draisaitl, deadliest combo, you could say, forward-wise in the NHL. Their defense is looking better. Skinner is going into another playoff year, and he has experience. He's hungry to get there. Vancouver, we weren't expecting you to be in playoffs. You were not looking like a playoff team, in my opinion, and this year you blew it out of the gate. Rick Tocchet as a head coach has really turned that team around. Brock Besser looks good in playoffs. Like I said before, Elias Pettersson needs to show up for this series to make it close. My worry is Demko. Demko has been reported that he won't start in round 2, but maybe they get to a point where they need to throw him in. Edmonton in 6. And I say this because I think McDavid and Draisaitl is just going to be way too much for what Vancouver is. And I think Quinn Hughes is a great defenseman. I'm not going to take that away, but he kind of carries the load a lot more than you think. And that's what a star defenseman does to a team. Even with Philip Hronek there, he's a great partner with them, but I think it's going to overwhelm them, especially with Zach Hyman in front of the net getting those dirty rebounds that McDavid sauces over to him. It's going to be a lot for Vancouver to handle. But I will say this will go to Game 7 if Demko is in Game 5 or 6. This is going to Game 7 if Demko's
Barnes are going to be rocking, hey?
Oh, they're going to
Barnes.
You're going to see fights between jerseys every night. In Edmonton, Vancouver, Vancouver, you're going to see a fight almost every night, and that's not on the ice. That's on the fan bases.
My thoughts. Okay, I got a lot here. I think this is a series to prove that regular season doesn't always show what will happen in the playoffs. Vancouver, 4-0 Edmonton, but it's going to happen. A lot of factors here. Vancouver factors. I'll go right now. Keep the players who are scoring. Add Pettersson to that. If you do that, you could get Edmonton in trouble, especially if you can break down their defensive structure. Seelovs, you play him until he struggles, but when he struggles, gonna be tough. Hopefully you get Demko back. You see what happens with that. Vancouver, positive for them is watching them play Nashville. They can play that defensive game. So they can play both games, but they're going to have to probably play into that high-flying offense. And if you're only scoring 2 goals a game, like you were in the last series, you're not winning this series easily. This team is going to be darn good for a long time, I think. Don't think it's their year. Keep talking. They could probably get a cup run soon.
Mm-hmm.
They need experience is what I think. Edmonton wins this in 6, and I say this because McDavid is hungry. He is just going to be much hungrier. McDavid's that guy. He is.
Yeah.
I could see McDavid having a freaking bonanza of games where he scores like 3+ points. Like trust me, like I think as every round gets closer, this dude. I think this dude could be injured. His leg could be chopped off, and this dude would still find a way to score points a game. Man, I'm telling you, he's just that good. Edmonton, though, there's some factors with Edmonton. Like Skinner's got to be good, right? Their defensive structure has to stay what they were. keep the players scoring who've been scoring. I didn't even mention Kane. He's been injured, and that's not good. But if you can get him scoring too, that's great. You know what? A little bit of feistiness from Corey Perry would help a lot. Would help, especially with Zadorov. So that'd be something to see.
It's going to be a fun series. I think it will be a fun series for
It's gonna be
Canadian
a fun
teams.
series. I think it'd be close, but I think Edmonton's just going to be hungrier. It's McDavid's year, man. They're not going to make finals, in my opinion, because Dallas is gonna kill them. But this is McDavid's year, right? So
McDavid's second round year.
yeah, it's just make it back to the third round. And
exactly.
I always love when Edmonton fans make fun of Flames fans for 2022, but it's like you guys got swept by Colorado, so you won as many games in the third round as we did.
Hey guys, that has been CHEL Talk Round 2 predictions from T-Dog and I. If you did enjoy this episode, leave a like, leave a comment, and please subscribe. We love the support you guys are giving us in these videos. T-Dog, wrap this up.
Like B-Dog said, thank you very much for watching, listening, however you are consuming this. Comment below if you did like it. Comment question of the day. What are your guys' predictions? Who's winning the Vancouver-Edmonton series? Who's winning Colorado-Dallas? Who's winning Florida-Boston? Who's winning New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes? We'll never know until it happens. Well, boys and girls, it's been a blast. We will see you guys in the next one. We're going to be watching some playoff hockey. And hey, remember, be responsible. Get your workouts in. Go to work. And then when you're done all your activities, then enjoy some playoff hockey because you can reward yourself with something good. Discipline is key. Remember that.
Exactly.
Remember that. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.
Peace.